Hello there and welcome to the Double Zero Challenge channel. We do just one thing on this channel, and that is to take these two dice and see how long it takes before we roll a double zero. So before we begin, if you would like to play along, please write down your guess now. All I ask is that you keep it to yourself, don't disclose it in the comments, let other people watch the videos and guess for themselves. There'll be a few more things to explain as we go along, but let's get cracking. So roll number one. And that is a 5 and a 9. I'll read them all out as we go along. And that's a 5 and a 9. And that's a 7 and a 2. Remember, we're looking for a double zero. And that is a single zero and a 2. So not quite what we're looking for. We will take account of any doubles we encounter along the way, any other doubles that is. So 1 in 100 chance of rolling a double zero. That's a 4 and a 5. And that's a 2 and an 8. We have a 3 and a 7. And that is a 5 and a 6. We have a double 5, so we'll record that down there. It's interesting to see how many other doubles we encounter along the way to double zero. And that's a 9 and a 2. And we have a double 7. Upstairs and downstairs there. And that's a 9 and a 4. And an 8 and a 3. That's a 0, but it's a 5. And that is an 8 and a 6. And we have a 9 and a 6. That's an 8 and a 4. And we have a 6 and a 4. That's a 2 and an 8. And we have a 9 and a 7. That's a 0, but it's a 7. And it's a 4 and a 5. We have a 0, but we have a 9. Close, but not close enough. That's a 0, and it's a 1. Tantalizingly close. And that is a 9 and a 5, right off the grid there. If you're a regular viewer, you know there's minimal editing in this channel, so any mistakes like that, you'll likely see them. Must confess there are a few takes I've actually completely scrapped just because I didn't like them. But yes, minimal editing otherwise. Anyway, 4 and a 5. And that's a 1 and a 2. And we have a 1 and a 2. We have a 2 and a 4. And that's a 3 and a 4. That's a 4 and an 8. And that's a 6 and a 1. We have a 6 and a 9. Let me just rotate them. Yep, a 6 and a 9 there. I know there is a little line, but sometimes it's hard to mentally rotate them. So thank you for bearing with me. And that's a 6 and a 7. And we have a double 6 there. So that gets put on the pile. We move on. And that is a 3 and a 9. And a 4 and a 5. We have an 8 and a 3. And that is a 6 and a 9. That's a 9 and a 2. And we have a 1 and a 7. That is a double 4, also our fourth double of the session. And that is a 9 and a 6. And that is a 6 and a 9. Here we go. Rotation playing havoc with us again. We have a 0, but we have a 5. That's a 0, but it's a 9. That is a double 3. Again, put that on the pile. So as I say, the odds are 1 in 100, so we'd expect to see basically 10 doubles on the way. Statistically, because real life does not always work that way. Anyway, we carry on. And that is another rotation, is 9 and a 6. We often find out how the dice gods play with us during the session, and today it's rotations. When we get to 50, by the way, we do a double-hander one, a nice big one. That's coming up just after this next one. And that's an 8 and a 7. And the double-hander, which we'll also do for every multiple of 50, is a 0, but it's a 3. So we carry on for 100 rolls. And we have a 2 and a 5. And that's a 4 and a 7. We have a 0, but we have a 3. And that's a 2 and a 4. And a 3 and an 8. A 2 and a 6. And that's a 6 and an 8. We have a 0, but we have a 4. And that's a 6 and a 2. And we have a 2 and a 9. It's a 0, but it's an 8. And a 3 and a 2. And that's a 1 and an 8. And we have a 2 and a 9. And it's a double 1. Sling that on the doubles pile. And it's a double 6. Sling that on the doubles pile. And it's a 0, but it's a 7. And it's a 4 and a 7. And it's a 2 and a 9. And it's a 0, but it's a 2. It's a double 3, our 8th double of the session. It's a 0, but it's a 7. So the dice gods are tantalising us with zeros now, instead of rotations. Hope they're happy. 0 and an 8. And that is a double 5, bringing us up to our 9th double of the session. We have a 9 and a 7. And that's a 5 and a 6. It's an 8 and a 4. And we have an 8 and a 5. That's a 9 and a 1. And we have a 6 and a 7. It's a 5 and a 9. And we have a 6 and a 7. It's a 3 and a 4. And we have a 6 and a 7. 7 and a 4. And that's a 5 and a 6. We have a 3 and a 4. And that's a 1 and a 2. We have a 0, but we have a 2. That's a 1 and a 6. And that's a double 8, giving us our 10th double of the session. Exactly what we would expect statistically, except without the 0, but that will come. It's a 7 and a 3. And that's a 5 and a 9. Sorry, correction, that's a 5 and a 6. Doesn't matter though, it is still not a double. And that's a 1 and a 3. And it is a 00 on the 95th shot. Just when I was away to say on the 100 we would do another double. So quite close to the hypothetical odds. 95 rolls out of 100 to get the 00, and we saw 10 other doubles on the way. Excellent. Thank you so much for watching. You take care and roll on next time.